Hello, hello, hello. Um, for some reason, episode number 11 has become like Drew Bledsoe's career, the end of his career. It keeps getting knocked out and I can't finish it. So we're going to try this again for the fourth time. Um, Today we're going to talk about Trump, and I had not intended to talk about Cracker Barrel. For the past few days, I think I got to. I'm just going to go over my draft for the Blitz League. If you want to hear probably about Steve and Dilbeck's draft, they will probably be talking about three putt and duck. It should be fun. Uh, we each had some homer picks, so it's fine. Now, we're also said Trump the peacemaker. We're talking about Cracker Barrel. We're talking about fantasy football. We're going to talk about the Blitz League draft. We're also going to talk about the AFC and NFC West and the AFC and NFC North, who I think is going to win both conferences or both divisions from each, and see how the playoffs line up on hopefully next Sunday. This is Tuesday when I'm doing this. So hopefully on Sunday, I will have time to sit down and do another podcast, or we'll at least have it out before the Cowboys game on the 4th of September, which I am looking forward to. Football season in my house has already started. This week is the first official week of high school football in Texas. So I get to go to our first official game. This is the first week that we can scrimmage at middle school in the district I'm in, so that's going to be fun. I'll probably have some stories from that, tell you how my boys are looking. Again, I'm sorry if I didn't say this. This is the Jackazz podcast. This is number 11. Hopefully, we can get done with being the Drew Bledsoe episodes and get this podcast done and out to y'all. So, and then we are going to go over, I don't know what else to say for entertainment. No, we're not going to worry about entertainment. Well, we will talk about Heat Wave from yesterday and upcoming Clash in Paris for WWE and what I am looking forward to, and the good news that happened in the past week that we found out, but it kind of changes the plan for WWE, which is fine. It makes sense. So let's start off. We're going to start off like we always do. We're going to talk a little bit of Trump. And what we're really going to talk about is him being the peacekeeper, him being a peacekeeper in a way. Everybody afraid he was going to go to war all the time, and him just being a peacekeeper between two warring countries or trying to broker peace. And I don't know how much. Like, the skeptical part of me is there's probably some back end help from the U.S. that nobody's talking about, but he also did a big flex on Putin when they were talking about the Ukraine Russia war. And here's the thing, man. When we have gotten into wars that don't involve us, it seems to, I don't know, everybody thinks the U.S. is has to be the peacekeeper when people aren't listening to our government. And I think having someone who, even though, yeah, he's not the world's greatest leader, but having someone who is strong and will do what he says as the leader of the U.S. is a good thing and can broker peace throughout the world. So that's a good thing. So I hope he keeps up with this. I don't know of any other major news that I've heard of. I know that people are flipping and tripping out because it's Trump or because it's this or that. And speaking of Trump, the headline from the story that I read that, so if y'all haven't, let's stop. Let's go back. So Cracker Barrel's been in the news. Cracker Barrel's never in the news. Cracker Barrel is just kind of the ritzy Southern white people's, like Southern white people down home. We want that food, Southern food, cooking. Not like the Waffle House where it's the degenerates go, but it's a nice restaurant. It's got some old timey stuff to it. The general store is always fun to go in and see. The rocking chairs are always nice. And for some reason, you hire someone who doesn't understand what the meaning to people in the South are. of what Cracker Barrel is. Because Cracker Barrel, I don't know if it goes north of the Mason-Dixon line. I don't look it up. I have absolutely no clue. I don't know how nationwide they are. I know they are a Southern staple. I know that there's like 4 or 5 in San Antonio, and they're more on the ritzier. I don't want to say ritzier side of town. They're more on the what we call the north side, northwest side, and northeast side, where all the money tends to go to side of town. So, and you can find them. They're not like really close together, but they are around, and it is cool to see. Like my daughter got a gift certificate, loves going there. Loves to go look at stuff, and I made fun of her one time for it. But how you were going to take the barrel and the guy leaning on the barrel, and if y'all don't know, I don't know why they called it Cracker Barrel, but my assumption is because back in old time days, you used to get your food out of a barrel. Crackers were probably in a barrel. It's not because it's a white guy. It's not a race thing. A lot of people like down here love Cracker Barrel. There isn't really. I think there's a Waffle House being built soon, but there's not really a Waffle House near San Antonio. Don't know why. I think there's one east of town, probably like within an hour. I've seen it. It's just not the way I go a lot of times when we go out of town. So, but Cracker Barrel, like, why do you change something that's been working? Why do you try and modernize? I can understand kind of modernizing it, but sometimes when you modernize, you take what's good out of it. Like there's a down homey feel to Cracker Barrel. For Southern people, that's a good thing. If you're from the South and you've had family out in the country, Cracker Barrel is just like going out to a country house, just a big country house, and going to an old school general store. And just yeah, it's crowded. I'm a big dude, so me walking through the Cracker Barrel general store is a pain. But it's got stuff that like my family would like, my daughters would like, stuff you could get for gifts for people who like that type of stuff. It's cool. I enjoy it. I just enjoy going out there and seeing that stuff. Now, so I think I think the backlash for it has been hilarious because you did not expect the people who go to Cracker Barrel to have backlash. You do not know Southern people in change. Change does not do well in the South. People who like to be, who are liberal and you do your pronouns, you guys want constant change. That doesn't, like, you need to know your audience. Like you were told in school, like when you write stuff, when you do stuff, you need to know your audience. You need to know who you're trying to sell to when you're doing sales. This is just funny to me. As someone, I don't even know what her thing was, but she's like, oh no, we've heard people like it. Well, oh good. Dusty got his nose in today. So yeah, we got. So I just think the Cracker Barrel thing's funny. It is comical to see how people are just like, nah, you can't change Cracker Barrel. Well, there might be some things that need to change, but the logo wasn't one of them. Make sure the food's still good. Make sure everything that you want still good. Let people be who. If y'all want to complain, let people be who they want to be. Then that goes for everybody. It's the old golden rule, man. The old golden rule. Do unto others as you have done unto you. Treat people like you want to be treated. If you want me to treat you with the same respect and you and me have different values, then that goes both ways. Because the moment you disrespect me or someone like me, you're going to catch hell for it. Or they're just going to annoy you, basically silent, tell you to fuck off and just not deal with your ass like you would like to be dealt with. Especially if you're not being respectful. I'm not going to put up with that. Most people aren't going to put up with that. So, and if you don't like that, well, tough shit. Deal with it. Matt, so speaking of Southern things, and we'll go more into like something that I'm waiting for what they fully do in Texas, which is they're saying they're going to get rid of the Staar as is as an end of the year exam and the benchmarks that go with it. My dog's being a pest. They say they're going to get rid and do it like 3 tests. So right now, through a lot of Texas, probably, if I know through the district I'm in, we have 2 tests that the kids got to take, 2 styles of tests. And we've been doing one actually today. When I record this, we just did our the first thing of this test called the map growth test. So we have to prove growth and see if they've grown. And see how they've grown for math and for reading. And this test is cool to me. If the Staar does something like this and where they say where it's only going to be a half day, because here's the thing about the Staar test. And to me, this is ridiculous. The Staar test, your school, like we're locked down all day because now everyone's got what they call or used to call extended time. Okay. So everybody's got all day. When I was first around schools, it was like a 3 to 5 hour test, depending on what it was. If it was the English version, because of the writing, it would be like 5 hours. I'm sorry for the noise in the back. My dog just wants to play fetch today. But so that is what the state wants to do is go to more like a 3 times a year test, kind of without benchmarks, which is where the district makes tests basically off past year's test of what's it called, of the Staar, and says, okay, well, we think that based on the data we have, that they should either score high, score low, and the map growth test tells you the same thing, like as you're doing it, and these are the benchmarks. So it makes me wonder if we're going to have less overall testing or we're just going to have more testing and they're going to change TIA to get that. So, but because TIA requires that you have 2 proofs of tests for the district to be part of it. So if you don't know, it's the Texas Initiative allotment is what I'm talking about. It's an allotment for certain teachers to get bonuses, like a big bonus based on the growth of their students and their observation scores. So like the most I think you can get is like 32 grand, like just one lump sum check. And that would be cool, but I don't know. So we'll see. I don't really get to be part of it because of the job that I have. So we'll see how that goes for some people. So that's what I'm wondering is going to go on in this second special session. I know I've been seeing stuff on TikTok about it. Let's see how this goes. Whatever they decide, and since the governor wants to change the Staar test, what they really need to do is get actual teachers involved who actually know what's going on in the classroom so we can measure what the kids know. Because the hardest thing to do is we're not speak. Like when we take the Staar test, it doesn't speak. And I'm going to say middle school student. It doesn't speak to middle school and below. Like if you're a junior taking that test and maybe some high school tests aren't as confusing to those grade levels, but you're a middle schooler and abstract thought is something that we're just kind of introducing to you, but your test has so much stuff that is really abstract or that you're inferring, and definition inference that we teach is knowledge from life and what the author is saying. And these kids haven't lived the same type of life that our generation did or the generation before us did. So when we talk about the Staar test, everybody thinks that we're complaining because we're being watched. Come watch me in class, please. Come watch me be a behavior teacher. Come watch some of my peers teach their class. you're going to have wanted the interactivity that we do in the class. And then we sit these kids in a test when they're not used to sitting down because we're told to engage the kids. This is a whole bunch of kids who are really more kinesthetic learners. So that means they learn while they're moving. They have ADHD up the wazoo because we as parents kind of messed up, gave them a phone, gave them a tablet, and said, "Here, keep yourself busy," instead of them trying to figure out and use their damn imagination on how they deal and problem solve. So that's a worry. And then we're saying, let's take this test that I'm gonna tell you that the version that I took as a kid, the TOS test, was nowhere near as hard as the STAR test, but it still gave me the same knowledge. And then you have stupid ass rules in the STAR test that say, well, you can't do this because we can't have questions about, say, like playing cards and dice because of, and that's how we teach ratios and proportions and all that, because that's one of the easiest ways to teach. But no, you guys can't teach it that way. We have to figure out another way. Man, people do not make sense. This does not make sense to me. You want to tell teachers we can't do this, we can't do that, and the guys on the shoot that you're handcuffing us and expecting us to go, oh yeah, please handcuff me more. Like, I want people to understand that yes, you've had experience with a teacher. If you had experience with a bad teacher and that shed the worst light on you, go look back and go through all your teachers in your head and see how many of them were bad, poor. It's just like people that you work with. You got a bad coworker who everybody knows is the shits. And if you don't know who that person is, it's probably you. But you have to treat them with the same amount of respect. And you can't judge, especially now, that if you're like me and you're about to hit your 25th high school reunion, the way you learned in high school and even the courses that you have to learn from back then to now are so much different. In the state of Texas, if you're like, well, my degree said this. Well, guess what? When we got our high school diplomas, we didn't have to do the same classes that our kids now have to do. We didn't have the same technology that our kids have. We just, hell, 25 years ago, we just started getting cell phones. Like, cell phones just started. They weren't a huge problem. But you would pay for your phone. It was prepaid, this, that, and went on the internet. It was just a phone. So I think people need to stop looking through just their singular lens and the puzzle piece that they remember and look at the whole puzzle for education. We think, well, and especially with public education, 90% of the state of Texas is in public education. 90%. And people want to take money from public education. And I'm not even saying the district I work in makes sure that we are paid a reasonable salary. But if you go an hour outside of San Antonio, there's a 20, 25 grand difference on the starting wage of a teacher. Like, I could make more when I went from the charter school I was at. Okay. My first year teaching, I got paid $38,000. That's as much as I made working 2 jobs. Okay. Actually, I got paid a total of $43,000 because I had a $5,000 stipend for special ed. When I left the next year, I made a $13,000 raise or $14,000 raise to go to the district I'm in now. And now, since then, in all honesty, because I'm coaching, because I have all these different stipends, like this year I'm getting like a straight $9,000 raise because the state said that if you've been teaching for over 5 years, you get a $5,000 bump in pay. And then I added 2 sports. So I'm getting a nice chunk raise. Those people in other districts getting about a $5,000 raise if they're not coaching sports, and the people getting TIA gonna get a bigger bump. So just please, people, when it comes to education, when we talk about the STAR test, yes, there's a reason, because I guarantee you, your kid's teacher would rather be teaching the class than sitting there watching and just watching your kids take a test. They're the most boring days of my work year. There is no more boring day, and it is grueling. That time goes by slow, and everybody knows you got those days, especially when you have a job that you actually like. Like today, time flew by. I'm looking, I'm going, crap. Even though we had the map test, I got a lot of work done. But time flew by. Like I'd blink and did 2 hours. So I hope that they change the STAR in a reasonable way. I hope that we get people who actually want us, that would support public education instead of just private education or whatever fills their pocketbooks. And you can't convince me, because don't tell me charter schools. Charter schools are free to adults, but guess what? They are a for-profit thing. There are CEOs, and like Jubilee had like 20 or 30 schools in it. All right. And they are ruthless on something, so I don't want to hear it. You're not going to convince me otherwise. I worked. If you want to send your kid to a private school, pay the tuition. Okay. All right. So the next thing we're going to talk about, congratulations to Naomi and Jimmy Uso on Naomi's pregnancy. If you didn't know, they're a married couple. A lot of you should know this already if you watch wrestling. Kind of throws a wrench into the women's division. It's kind of a cool thing to see in WWE, like how they let these people announce their pregnancy. I remember watching during the pandemic when Becky Lynch announced her pregnancy, and it was like a really cool moment between her and Asuka. So it kind of throws a loop into what has become some of the more fun storylines to watch in wrestling, the women's storylines. And it's not like when we were kids. They actually have storylines. They build feuds and characters. And yeah, it's a little different than the guys, but some of it's still the same in the guys. So that's a cool thing. The storyline I'm really liking right now is I'm liking Drew McIntyre talking mess, because he messed up Cody Rhodes and nobody knows where Cody Rhodes is at. And the Alexa Bliss, Charlotte Flair storyline as the tag team champs. That's a cool one. What's the Io Sky and Asuka, kind of looks like Asuka's about to turn, and that's cool. The Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, Asuka thing, and then those are cool. That's something I enjoyed watching. Heat Wave. That'll be fun to watch. That's fun to watch, or that was fun to watch with the Javon Evans Obafemi match. That was really, really good. That got me off my phone for a while. The girls triple threat between actually both of them. The first one with Kalani Jordan, Jada Parker, and who was the other girl? Lola Vice, and Lola Vice winning it. It was a really fast-paced match. That was a good match. I wasn't going to be disappointed if any of the three won them. It's cool that Lola Vice won it. Cool to see what she's going to do. See how they're going to push her, because she's caught on. And the JC Jane match and her losing the TNA title. I don't know about the two TNA the wrestlers. I haven't really watched it in a long time, but it is cool. It was fun to watch. I enjoyed watching. I enjoyed watching the tag team match with Dark State and Hank and Tank. I have a feeling they're gonna let Hank and Tank come back and get it, or they're gonna push them up to the main roster. I think they need to let some of that main roster tag team action build. When as the WWE's got great, they have great singles wrestlers, but there's something about watching really good tag teams with really good tag team storylines. SmackDown's doing really good with it. I think on Raw, they're kind of lazy with it. I think on NXT and SmackDown, they're really good with, oh, we're going to push this, we're going to do this when it comes to tag team wrestling. I don't think Raw has that same feel sometimes. So, but I do enjoy the tag team matches, seeing how they've split the tag team division up for, what's it called? For SmackDown has been really, really nice. I'm also waiting on to see if they eventually break up the Street Profits, because I think one of those two, more so, they each need an individual run. They may wait. Maybe the Street Profits wait until if one of them unfortunately gets injured, get down. But that's one thing I'm waiting for. So it'll be cool. So right now we're gonna pause with the wrestling talk. I'm looking forward to Clash in Paris. It's a little early. It's kind of cool to go see the stuff. I'm actually looking forward to the Roman Reigns Bronson Reed match at Clash in Paris. That's probably the one I'm looking forward to most. I'm also looking forward to the 4-way for the championship with Seth Rollins, CM Punk, LA Knight, and Jey Uso. I have a feeling that'll be a Seth Rollins win, unless they put it on Punk. I don't think LA Knight's gonna win. I don't think Jey Uso's gonna win. But this should be a good match. I don't. Logan Paul John Cena match should be good. The promos by John Cena have been what you expect from him. That's a good thing. So that's what I'm gonna do with. That's all I'm really gonna talk about with Wrestling Day. Probably by the next time this comes up, I will have watched Clash in Paris and just see. I like those because I love listening to those crowds. That would be just a jacked, cool crowd to be in. So hopefully it's a good show. Hopefully I don't have to do anything Sunday so I can watch it. Now, you know what? I'm gonna end on my picks for football. So this past Sunday, and I tried to do a podcast right after it. This past Sunday, my team, the Jackasses, which is spelled the same way as the Jackass podcast, and for everybody, just yesterday, listening to another coach talking about having a Shopify store. I will put the link with my podcast. It's called the Jackazz Store. There is some Jackass podcast merch that'll look like my little donkey with the headphones. I got hats, I got shirts, I got trucker caps, and I got fitted caps, or like the stretch fit caps. And then I think I got an old school hoodie. I got like a warm up basketball hoodie. And then I got some shirts online on my Shopify store that I just started. If y'all interested, go get some. It'll be cool. Hopefully by next week I have some. Maybe the week after that, but I will start rocking some. Just did it yesterday, so it's cool, it's exciting. If y'all want to support me, not if you do just want to support the store, there's some funny name candles on there. Like Yoda one. Just because I have a weird sense of humor. There's one called Calm Down Karen, and a couple others. So I think they'll be cool. I think they'll be fun. Man, hopefully you can go check it out on Shopify, and it is called the Jackazz Store. Just look it up. The Jackazz Store, and and you'll see the little donkey logo. And then there's some cool little things that I think people would like, or that I would like to buy. So please, just for a little extra money, it's fine. If you don't, that's fine too. It's up to you. So now we're gonna get into fantasy football. Which, speaking of, we did Sunday. I always have fun on my live draft. I don't talk as much mess online, and I don't really talk that much mess to begin with, but I have fun doing my roster. So I'm gonna read you my roster because I had the 12th pick. So I had the last pick in the first round, and we did something where it was like a fake 100-yard race online, and then we picked our spot. So I picked number 12. I was like the 7th one to pick, and I picked number 12. I like that spot. I like having back-to-back picks and kind of seeing what everyone else does. Um, I genuinely kind of like being somewhere between 1 to 4. Like if you put me 5 to 8, I'm fine with that. Like 9 to 12, 1 to 4 are some of my favorite spots to be in the draft, just because I like having those close picks. We just did like an 18-team draft, so that one was ridiculous for the Guillotine League. But so I think I was like right in the middle. So I always had like 18. No, when I was like number 3, so I had like 30 picks in between my picks. So I had to really go look and see who I wanted and see who was gonna come up around the bend. What the ADP said on Sleeper was gonna come up around the bend. So this year I did something a little different. I'm the guy on 3 Putt and Duck that Steve complains about that brings his little list from ESPN. So this year I pulled a list where I could pull up the scoring options for the league we're in, because they're a little bit unique. And did a list based on that. So that's what my list was based off of. So I actually hit the people I got were either like the people I thought I got good. It was a good value for when I got them. They were usually within like 5 to 10 picks of where I was picking. And so to me, that's not a stretch. It's just kind of, and it's who I liked versus who I didn't like. So, and I'm a Cowboys fan. I love my Cowboys. So my usual goal somewhere in the draft, and I don't know, my friends have figured out the second part of this, is I like picking a Cowboys player, but I'm not gonna like overreach for a Cowboys player. If they're within the range of where I like the list I'm looking at, then I'll pick them. Or if they're like we were, like I'll be honest, I picked Dak this year, and you're gonna see, I think it was like the 8th round, and he was within the realm I was looking. I was thinking between him and Kyler Murray. And in all honesty, I picked Dak because I trust Dak more as a quarterback, as making right decisions as a quarterback, and knowing when to run. I think Kyler, and I'm an Aggie fan, when he played for A&M and when he played for Oklahoma, he's more a speed run first quarterback than a passing quarterback. Even though he tried to get that out of him, and it didn't work. So that's kind of my philosophy on drafting. I take a list, I look at it, and then, oh, there they were. Dude. Ha. That's kind of funny. I forgot. My list went down to a page and had 2 names, and I was like, I don't know where this name's at. When it came to Justin Herbert. So this is the order I picked in, and my thought process basically, I was trying to fill like quarterback. I don't worry about like a whole bunch, but so it's not like my top position, but like a top guy falls within the range of where I'm sitting at, I will look at it. But he's not like my first position. Who do I think is going to be a good stud? If you're in a PPR league, I do tend to I'm running back heavy on this draft, but we have like 16 slots, and I genuinely think I picked some good runners, but I also picked some solid receivers, and that's kind of where I was looking. So, but I think for my receivers and my quarterbacks, I balance out. I think the only spot I didn't really get was second beside defense. I don't care about defense on having a second. I just usually like having one just because I won't be able to fill out my roster instead of going looking or doing the trade bait thing. I care less. Is tight end. And I think tight end, I think I can fill. So because nobody went like really tight end crazy. So there's probably some good tight ends. But so I got Malik Neighbors, Devon A. Chain, James Cooks, um, Devontae Adams, Chris Olave, Hawkinson. Then I got Tracy Jr. from New York, Dak Prescott, Warren, Chris Godwin, Trey Benson, Rashid Shaheed, TJ Spears, Davis. Then I got my second quarterback is Trevor Lawrence. So I got two good quarterbacks. So I can kind of flip them depending on what I think their matchup going to be like. And then I got the Buffalo defense. I refuse. I know, let me say this. We roll the kicker into the defense is how we do it in our league. We don't make them two separate picks. Okay. So you can have that extra body. Because originally this league was a keeper league and you got to keep two. So we all decided many moons ago that what we did is this. So we just did kickers. Kickers roll in with the D. So I got Buffalo, which is something I like. So the computer program that my friend was running said I got an A, like the second highest in the draft. I genuinely, whatever the computer says, I have an A. I'm good. To me, I'm really good at drafting. The paying attention to the waiver wires and stuff, I don't do as well as I probably should. I'm usually teaching. I'm not on my phone or I'm coaching, so I'm not paying that much attention to it a lot of times. I think the one league I probably will pay attention to is the guillotine league, and I'm gonna have to make sure if I make it a week that I go get somebody worth a damn. So, that's how my draft went. We finished our guillotine league. Hold up. I'll tell you my roster on that one real quick, just so y'all know. So I got Jared Goff, Brees Hall, Joe Mixon, Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, TJ Hawkinson, Chris Godwin, Cavante Turpin, and Jaden Blue. I also have Cam Ward, Raheem Mostert, Ty Johnson, Brandon Ayuk, and Isaiah Likely. I don't think I did as good on this one. So it's gonna be interesting. It's really gonna be interesting. See how this goes. Now we're gonna talk about who I think are gonna win the divisions in the AFC and NFC West. We're gonna start AFC first because just the way the divisions are, it's alphabetical. I'm fine with having the AFC first. My hometown or my team is an NFC team, so I like saving them for last. So first off, the AFC West, I have the Chiefs winning it till someone proves that they can beat them. I think the Broncos will be in second place. I think the Chargers are going to be in third place, and I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. There's some I do not trust about Justin Herbert. I think because Raiders were such a dumpster fire, even though they got Geno Smith and Pete Carroll, maybe they take the 3 spot. But I think Broncos have enough talent that they'll overtake the Raiders because I don't think that the defense got a couple of stars, but they have 1 star in Max Crosby, and then they don't really have as many players and then you're trying to keep up with the Chiefs and you're trying to keep up with the Broncos who have Bo Nix, who's a really good running quarterback, and those outside receivers. And there's something about Denver where they can run the ball. So that's how I think. I think Chiefs are gonna win the AFC again. Until someone knocks them off, I'm not betting against the Chiefs. Just like I wouldn't have bet against Tom Brady and the Patriots, I'm not gonna bet against the Chiefs. So the NFC West, I think, is going to be the 49ers and the Rams. I may flip what I actually have written down. I think it'll be the Cardinals and the Seahawks because the Seahawks going through a whole revamp thing. They got rid of their 2 number 1 receivers, or 2 of their better, more consistent receivers. I don't see until I actually see what their offense is going to look like. I don't trust it. I think the Cardinals having Kyler Murray and they have Marvin Harrison Jr. and you have James Conner and you probably have hopefully you have a better staff to put these people in the right places. I think they'll probably be number 3, but I don't think they're gonna beat out the Rams and Sean McVay. Even if he doesn't have like Matthew Stafford, I think he can get something out of a halfway decent quarterback. And the 49ers, I just trust, even though, yeah, they got rid of Debo. You still have Christian McCaffrey. You still have George Kittle. You have Brandon Ayuk when he comes back. You have a couple other receivers. You have Brock Purdy, and you have Shanahan running that offense. And I think that's a good thing. I think he knows what his football team is, and they don't have to be the best passers. But if they can run the ball, you're screwed because then they'll be play action passing. So that's why I think they're gonna win division, and they have a hell of a defense that they have had for years. Like they keep restocking that defense. Their draft department and scouting department is hella good, and there aren't many teams that have probably made the playoffs as many times as they have in the past 20 years. There aren't that many. And you think they've had a couple different head coaches, they've consistently made the playoffs. So I'm going to go with the 49ers. Now we're talking the AFC North. And here's where I go with this. I think the Ravens will win the division. I think they're head and tails above everybody else in that division. I can't say that the Steelers won't be in second place because Mike Tomlin has his coaches coaching up all those guys. So, they got Aaron Rodgers. He will probably look like it's a resurrection year. You got DK Metcalf, so they actually have really good receiver on the outside, even though they got rid of George Pickens for some reason, but I'm going to take him as a Dallas Cowboy fan. I think the Bengals defense is just too weak and their offense can't score enough, even though they have paid a ton of money to that offense, and you just basically gave what's his face? You basically gave Henderson a jump and pay, but you didn't extend them for whatever reason. So that doesn't make any sense to me. And the Browns are just a hot mess. A hot mess. I have friends who are Browns fans, and I swear y'all gotta be the most miserable fan base. I'm a miserable fan as a Cowboys fan because we haven't won the Super Bowl in 25 years. The Browns haven't won a championship since before the Super Bowl came around. The Browns have not won, and they were a title contender. They beat Dallas in the NFL championship game many, many, many moons ago, like in the early 60s. They haven't won since then. And they are a hot mess. They keep messing up their quarterbacks. They do not know what their front office doesn't know what they're doing. Like you're messing up your quarterbacks, you're messing with your star player, you're not putting they don't put a actual team together. So it's crazy to me. But besides that, so I think the Browns are gonna be a hot mess again. So for the NFC North, I think the Lions are such a good and well-rounded team that they're gonna win the NFC North again. Or they're gonna win it this year. If they didn't last year, I don't remember. I think the Packers will be second. And to me, it's a coin flip between the Bears and the Vikings. The only reason I would put the Bears over the Vikings right now, I think I'm going to, is because of the Bears they have Ben Johnson, who's a great offensive mind, and hopefully he can do something good with Caleb Williams and that offense. And they actually have some talent on the offensive side. There's just something about the Bears and not having great offensive talent. The only other thing is they may not have the defensive skill set that they've had in years past. It's a coin flip to me. I think the Vikings may have a better defense, but you're going with a guy in J.J. McCarthy that is his first year starting. Yeah, he's got Justin Jefferson to throw to. He's got who's in running back right now? Is it Addison? No, I don't remember. Zach Cooks. They got a decent running game. Even I can't remember who it is. But yeah, so That is my thought process right now. And if I'm wrong, okay, I'll be fine with it. So next week we will talk about the AFC and NFC to South, and then we'll talk about the East. And then I will give you my prediction I'll give you my hope and my actual prediction for who's going to be in the Super Bowl. Mine may not go through how the whole playoffs looks, but I'll give you who I think is going to be a good wild card team. Also, please go by my store, the Jackazz Store, the Jackazz store. Get yourself some merch from the podcast and just some other stuff that'll be fun. And also, I did forget the audio version of this podcast is also on Amazon right now. Should be on Apple Podcasts. I'll have to go look at it again. And I want to say Castbox, but I don't remember. But for sure it's on Amazon and Audible. There's a couple other places that I got to put it on. So y'all have a good week. I will see you next week. I will definitely do this before the 4th. When the Cowboys play the Eagles. I'll tell you how our scrimmage went. Find out anything political that I'm interested in talking about. And see if they've changed something with the STAR test. Y'all have a good week. Have a happy holiday, because on Monday, at least I'm off from work. So y'all have a good one. All right. It's the Jackazz. Have a good weekend. Peace.